go. Yeah, you got it. That was good. See, now you're officially here in Jacksonville.
All right, QB1 and Coach P kicking things off for draft night in Duval. We're going to give you a live look across the St. Johns River at TIAA Bank Field and Daly's Place. This is where fans and all of Jags Nation are eagerly waiting to see who the team takes for the first overall pick in the 2022 draft. For the second straight year, as you know, the Jaguars have been on the clock, well, since the season ended. And that's all in the past. The future is now. So hello again. Thank you for joining us here on News4JAGS Plus and News4JAGS.com for what we hope is the beginning of a new era in Jaguars football. Joy, we've been saying that a lot lately around these parts, right?
You know, Kent, it seems like the Jags have been rebuilding mode as long as downtown Jacksonville has, but a new head coach and a new front office power structure have given fans this new hope, even if it's just a little bit. We're excited to bring this special digital broadcast to you tonight. While the Jags make franchise history, we are making a little Channel 4 history. Yeah,
this is the first time that we've done digital-only coverage of a major event like that. So that means that this is commercial-free. The fun doesn't stop until that first pick is made. So if the team trades down past the top 3 spots, then we'll step away, we'll take a breather, we'll reset, and then we will return to our digital broadcast, if you will, when the pick, just before that pick, when the Jags are going to be up, so that you can find out who the team selects right along with us.
And part of the hope that we have tonight, we were just talking about a moment ago, is the team, once again, having that first overall pick in the draft. Unfortunately, that's because the Jags had the worst record in the league for the second straight year. But that also means they get to dictate terms to the rest of the league.
I like that perspective.
Right?
That's a rose-colored view right there.
Yes, they can choose to take the player they believe can most help them, or they can trade that pick for more picks to help really reshape the entire roster. So tonight, the Jags join a club nobody really wants to be a part of. They're going to be the 4th franchise to select first overall in back-to-back drafts.
Yeah, last year that first pick was used to take Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He had a decent rookie season, if you will. The question remains, whose name will be called first this year? The first team to go back-to-back in the draft was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It was their inaugural season, 1976. They selected Leroy Selmon, who became a Hall of Famer. And then the next year they selected first again. They went with running back Ricky Bell.
So the Bucs double-dipped again a decade later. They took Heisman Trophy winner Bo Jackson in 1986. And the next season, they picked another Heisman winner, quarterback Vinny Testaverde from Miami.
Yeah, amazing story about Bo Jackson, by the way. He never played a down for Tampa Bay. Check out his Wikipedia page, and you'll find out why. The second franchise to make consecutive picks at number 1, the Cincinnati Bengals. That was 1994 and 95. They took a pair of Big Ten stars and defensive lineman Dan Wilkinson and then Penn State running back Kijana Carter. Ohio's other pro team, the Cleveland Browns, they got in on the act in 99 and the year 2000. Kentucky quarterback Tim Couch and Penn State defensive end Courtney Brown were the picks there.
Yeah, and Cleveland did it again in 2017 and 2018, taking Myles Garrett from Texas A&M, followed by Oklahoma star quarterback Baker Mayfield. So, This is us.
The serious message.
Speaking directly to the Jaguars franchise.
Very sincerely.
Don't be the first team in history to be number 1 3 years in a row.
We don't want that kind of record at all. The man in charge of keeping that from happening just spoke to fans here at the Jaguars draft party at Daly's Place just back in February when Doug Peterson was announced as the 7th permanent head coach in team history.
Yeah, do you remember how it really seemed like it took the team forever just to nail down their choice to replace Urban Meyer? That means Peterson and his staff have only had about 3 months to figure out which player they want to pick, happening in just a few minutes. So here's what he and a few of his players said to fans right behind us.
This is exciting. It's a great way to kick off the 2022 NFL season. Obviously right here in Jacksonville, we're excited for this weekend. We're excited for this pick tonight, and we're just looking forward to, getting going. We just got done with our players here the last couple of days and just looking forward to adding more talent.
And it's been a wild couple of months. At times it feels like you just got hired last week, and at times it feels like you've been here forever. How have you prepared for this moment and what has gone on these past couple of months?
Yeah, you know, it's been really good. You know, the last 3 or 4 months that I've been here, obviously it's not my first rodeo. I had a chance to do this before and win a championship, and that's what we plan on doing here in Jacksonville. And so really tonight, you know, there's been a lot of hard work that goes into the draft. And there's a lot of behind the scenes. The scouts are on the road. They're gathering a lot of information. The coaching staff gathering a lot of information, watching tape, having a lot of conversations. So we've been really busy evaluating our players and obviously these college kids.
I like how you just slipped in casually winning a championship. That was very smooth.
Now, I'm very curious because this was a great week for practice. So how was the practice? How was watching the players interact with each other, everybody getting ready? What did you see and what did you recognize?
I saw a lot of enthusiasm. I saw guys that are hungry. I saw guys that want to win. They really want to flip the script. You know, we talk a lot about commitment. We talk a lot about communication and trust and all those things that it takes to build, you know, a football team and a championship football team. And we saw it here the last 3 days out on the field.
And building for this draft, we joked last year prepping was a little easy because we basically knew who the pick would be. They didn't tell us, but we just assumed. This year's a little different. There's a lot of directions the Jaguars can go. I assume you know now who the Jaguars are picking #1 overall. But how hard was that when there were a couple options that the Jags could take?
You know, every year there's a lot of really talented players at the top of the draft. Whether it be a quarterback, a receiver, an offensive lineman, you look at the defensive line, you look at the secondary, you know, and this year it's kind of spread out. You know, there may not be that quarterback, and we're so thankful we got our quarterback last year in Trevor Lawrence. Yeah.
They like him here.
Yeah. Oh, hey, we like him here too.
Now, you know, I'm from Jacksonville, and like the rest of everybody else, if you from Duval, make some noise, man.
Duval.
See? So I need to know, what do you need from us this year as fans?
You know, I'm gonna tell you something. What do we need from the fans? Well, we need to fill this stadium right behind us every Sunday, and then we have to take that show on the road. And every opposing stadium that we're in, we have to be the dominant fan base in those cities. And I know Jacksonville has a great coalition of fans around the country, and obviously in London as well. And you know, but filling this stadium right here on game day and supporting those players just like you do every year, that's what we need from you. And we need to be loud when our opponents are on the field, and just looking to, you know, really get this thing started later on, you know, this summer and on to training camp.
Coach, we got a couple more for you. I remember back at the Combine, you were mentioning how you wanted it to happen where good players in Jacksonville stayed in Jacksonville. Josh Allen, his 5th-year option, signing today. Why is that so important to you? Why do you want to make that happen?
You know, he's a great player, and we're so excited to extend him and have his 5th year. I truly believe, and I think this is where Trent and I are on the same page and the organization. When we draft guys, we want them to stay here forever. We want to finish their career right here in Jacksonville, and so we want to get them to their 2nd contract. And so it's for us as coaches and personnel, we have to do our job in evaluating in the talent and the searches and everything that we can do, because we want those guys to stay here. We're not grooming them for other teams. We want them right here in Jacksonville and playing for the Jaguars.
Yeah. You made a lot of power moves in the last few weeks. What will we see today?
Well, you're going to see another power move, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I'll say this. This will be the last time we pick 1st overall.
So we're monitoring things for you in Las Vegas. The NFL commissioner has announced the opening of the draft. The Jaguars are coming up to be officially on the clock, as we have been since the end of the last regular season.
Yes, and our News4JAGS team is spread out all across the bank and Daly's Place for this draft party. Scott Johnson is checking in with fans to see which players they want the Jags to pick.
We start, however, with the prognosticators, our sports experts, the gurus of gridiron pigskin prognosticators. We're talking about Culpepper and Jamal St. Cyr. And gentlemen, months of build-up. Some of the cards were revealed yesterday when the Jaguars signed offensive tackle Cam Robinson to a 3-year extension. I told you what I think's going to happen, but what do I know? Fellas, who's it going to be?
It's the great question, and it's the question that all of the fans here want to see answered here very shortly. And we will know within the next 10 minutes, 9 minutes and 15 seconds, Jamal, who it's going to be, because the Jaguars are now officially on the clock.
They are officially on the clock. We've known for a little while that they had trimmed their list down to just 4 players. Akeem Ekwonu, offensive tackle from NC State. Evan Neal, offensive tackle from Alabama. We probably can take both of those off our list thanks to that Cam Robinson deal, which really narrowed our list down to 2 guys, Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker.
Yeah, both pass rushers, guys who get after the quarterback. If you talk about the premium positions in the National Football League, quarterback is number 1, no doubt about that. Jamal, the guys who protect the quarterback and the guys who get after the quarterback are next in line. And that really does come down to those 2 guys, we believe. Now, could there be a curveball? Could you see somebody like a Kayvon Thibodeau, a guy you've been promoting, you really like him? Jermaine Johnson from Florida State, who started his college career at Georgia. Another pass rusher expected to go in the top 10. With no clear-cut number 1 this year, there's been a lot of intrigue. This has been one of the wildest pre-draft processes I can remember.
It definitely has. You know, every once in a while there's one of those drafts where there's just no dominant guy. There's not the guy in this draft, so really anything could happen. I know a lot of experts have been saying that they expected the Jaguars to throw a curveball at folks. I'm not expecting a curveball. I think we've kind of narrowed it down to this point where a lot of people have kind of figured out that where there was smoke, there is some fire, and we might know what the team's going to do here.
You could say the curveball came early when Trayvon Walker started rising up those draft boards. People said of Trayvon Walker, he hasn't gotten the kind of sack productivity that Aiden Hutchinson has. One part of that argument is that he wasn't asked to do that specifically at Georgia. They changed what they wanted to do defensively. He was more about keeping quarterbacks in the pocket, stopping the run, but he has freakish athletic ability.
He definitely does, and that's why the Jaguars are so intrigued by him. You know, the guy that Trayvon Walker really reminds me of is Cam Jordan, the defensive end for the New Orleans Saints. Coming out of college, Cam Jordan went all the way to his senior year. Highest sack production in one season, just 6 sacks. So coming in, he wasn't expected to be a big pass rush threat, and he wasn't. He was a dominant run defender for about the first 3 or 4 years of his career, and then those sack numbers slowly started to tick up. And Trayvon Walker, an incredible athlete, much better athlete than Cam Jordan is, and Jordan has over 100 sacks in his career at this point, a perennial All-Pro, a perennial Pro Bowler. I think Trayvon Walker could have a similar kind of career arc to what Jordan's has.
As you can hear behind us, there is some excitement about from the Jaguars now. They've got about 6.5 minutes left until they must make the pick. The pick can come in earlier. Last year, they asked the Jaguars to hold the pick of Trevor Lawrence, a pick that everybody knew was going to happen for about 7 minutes. Then they finally put it in.
Hey, TV magic, right?
You got to build the drama. It is a TV show as much as it is. We also know that last night, Shad Khan, Doug Peterson, and Trent Baalke huddled up here in Jacksonville and talked about the decision. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, it was down to Aiden Hutchinson and Trayvon Walker. Those were different kinds of conversations than they were having last year with Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, very different. Last year, it was, all right, well, this is the guy. Basically, there was the Trevor Lawrence Bowl at the end of the season. This year, now they're debating between these 2 players, the pros and cons. What is Hutchinson going to be if he comes here from day 1? What would Walker be if he came here from day 1? What could Hutchinson ultimately be 5 years down the road? What could Walker be 5 years down the road? So there's a lot more projecting, a lot more debate, because it did sound like there were split on exactly what they should do with this pick.
Well, and we do know that the Jaguars will be picking first for the 2nd straight year. The expectation is that it's defensive end. We'll see what happens in the 2nd round as well. Remember, the Jaguars have the first pick of the 2nd round. That comes tomorrow. Small chance that the Jaguars could trade back into the 1st round, potentially. But we're going to be waiting. We're just minutes away from the Jaguars taking the first pick. Ken, Joy.
thank you. So that's who our experts believe will go number one. What about the people whose opinion really matters the most, the fans?
Yeah, so our Scott Johnson has been speaking with fans all afternoon. Scott, who is the fan favorite?
Hey guys, I think you said something to me. It's hard to hear anything in here because we're on the clock and we're just seeing right now that the pick is in. It has not been established yet who that will be, but fans are excited. Let me talk to some fans. Hey, you're watching this. They say the pick is in. What do you think? Looks like we didn't trade down so far.
So it looks like the pick's in. I'm hoping we go offense, baby. Trevor Lawrence, he's going to make his second coming of Jesus right there. Trevor Lawrence, baby. So I'm hoping it's that.
Should we have traded down or should we go for this first pick?
Well, it looks like it's in.
So we're going for the first pick one way or the other.
So it looks like it's going to, it might be one of those two big defensive guys, and that's going to help Mike Caldwell out like substantially. But if we go offense, it's going to be Trevor Lawrence, and we're going to be looking good, baby.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Let's talk to a few more fans. They've been on the big screen out here for the national broadcast, and the fans are excited. Let me talk to one right here real quick. Ma'am, you excited? What do you think of this? The whole nation's watching us right now.
I know, it's exciting. Go Jags!
Do you think we're going to turn it around this year?
I sincerely hope so. Yeah, we're going to turn it around.
Has it been hard these last few years?
It's been a struggle being a fan, but I'm going to stay a fan.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So this has been something, I got to send it back to you. I was going to have more, but it sounds like we may have a pick soon.
All right. Scott, thank you. My heart is starting to beat really fast because we know the pick is in. We're waiting to see what it is. We know that we have so many fans representing DUUUVAL there in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Just, you could see them just cheering it on. So we're waiting. You heard our sports experts say they expect it to be one of two players, both defensive players.
Yeah, and that's what we're watching for. It could be one of the offensive linemen that we talked about, but this is something that, as you heard Cole and Jamal talking about, the Jaguars, they've known. If they're taking this first overall pick, they've known at least the last 24 hours, hey, what are we going to do on Thursday evening? But in this case, the league may be saying, don't make that announcement in the first 15 seconds. Wait your full 8 minutes, but that's what we're finding out. All right, pick should be coming in any moment. Roger Goodell is the NFL commissioner, and so we'll wait for him to make the announcement. But again, I think it is between Trayvon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson, both edge rushers, guys who rush the passer, and I'll let you make the announcement.
The announcement has been made. It is Trayvon Walker who will be coming to the Jaguars, the first overall pick of the draft.
Yeah, so this is pretty exciting. A Georgia player in our area, number 1 overall for the 5th time in NFL draft history. Let's go to Cole Pepper and Jamal St. Cyr.
All right, well, as we expected, the pass rusher, Jamal, we did our mock draft last week. Yep. You had the pick for the Jaguars, number 1. You picked Trayvon Walker. I think the real interesting question is what kind of an impact does he make on this defense in year 1? You'd like to see him make some kind of an impact.
Right.
As you mentioned, though, maybe the expectation of a guy coming in and just wrecking the quarterback right out of the gate, a little different for a guy who, as we mentioned, has upside but doesn't have the college productivity to back it up yet.
From day one, Walker walks in here and he is one of their best run defenders on that defensive line. That's from day one. He'll start on the edge, he will set it, he will chase down plays from behind, and on third down, you'll see him slide inside, add a little bit of pass rush, be able to push the pocket while he develops. But from day one, he is a run stopper on this team.
Shaq Griffin said he wanted somebody scary to come in here.
He's the scary box.
If you watch what he did at the Combine, that was scary for opposing teams. Trayvon Walker has all the measurables. He has the size, speed, quickness, strength, leaping ability, you name it. He made a bunch of big plays on that Georgia defense. A lot of them, though, weren't necessarily the kind of plays that would show up as a sack. It was batting down balls, chasing down defender, wide runs, that sort of thing.
A guy his size shouldn't be able to drop back in the coverage the way he does. We caught up with 1010XL strength Randy. He has his comments on the Jaguars taking Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon's a really interesting story. He rose up these draft charts and these mock drafts so fast, so people didn't know a lot about him. He didn't have a lot of sacks. He took on a lot of blockers. He's a little bit of a different guy than Hutchinson. He's a guy that's not going to play in space. He's going to be an end or he's going to be a tackle in nickel. I think he's going to play both of those spots. Very physical player, comes from a military family, yes sir, no sir guy. Met with about 12 teams. They all fell in love with the guy. A lot of upside. Not a lot of productivity yet as a college player, but boy, he's got all the traits. Going to play really hard. I like Trayvon Walker. I like the pick.
All right, there are the comments from Frank Frangie. I will also point out that the Jaguars used the first pick of the second round last year on a Georgia Bulldog, Tyson Campbell. Don't be surprised if the Jaguars wind up drafting another Georgia Bulldog later in this draft. There are a lot of them out there as well. Kenton Joy, as we expected, defensive end Trayvon Walker is the pick. Now the Jaguars will sit and watch the rest of the first round play out.
Now the work begins to make sure it's justified to have taken him first overall. But some of those measurables that they talk about, this guy's 6'5", 272 pounds, but he runs a 40-yard dash in 4.5 seconds. He can move. He's an athlete and certainly somebody that the Jaguars see as being foundational to their team and their defense.
And not only is he a great player, you know, so many other suitors wanted him to come to their college to play, and he decided to stay in Georgia. So he's familiar with Georgia, with our area,
yeah.
So you know he's going to have a heart for the Jaguars.
Hometown
as well.
guy from
Exactly.
Thomaston, Georgia. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So that'll be exciting for him to just be home. So what do the fans think?
Yeah.
Where Scott Johnson is. Scott.
Well, we'll find out. They were cheering big time here a few minutes ago. What do you think of this? They went defense.
So I like defense, but it's a little bit of a surprise in my mind.
Why is it a surprise?
Because I thought that guy would have went over the top guy that went in there just because of exposure and how strong Georgia was. But SEC is definitely better than Michigan. So
what do you think of it?
I like Walker. He played in the SEC. The SEC's toughest division in college football.
Do you think going defense was smart, being that last year was quarterback?
I don't know if it was smart or not. I would have liked to see some offensive line help, but I like this guy.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Let's talk to a few more. It is exciting in here. They were cheering every time Jacksonville was on national. You say you're a diehard. Jaguars went defense. What do you think of that? Do you have faith in this pick?
I do have faith in this pick. I think we're starting strong. This is exactly what we need for a good Super Bowl season.
Super Bowl? Do you think that's realistic?
It will be. We have faith.
You got to have faith? Well, that's good to know. So fans are excited. There was a lot of cheering. I do want to point out, a lot of people started leaving. It's still very packed in here, but it looks like all eyes were on that number one pick. That's what the locals wanted to see. Trayvon Walker was the big story. That's why a lot of people flooded out. The second pick, they'll probably watch on TV, but many people are sticking around. Chris, see if you can sweep across and show this crowd at a distance. It is packed in here. So last year it was in the stadium, very spread out. Now it's packed in Daly's place. But a lot of people were here for that number one pick. It's Trayvon Walker, and there is excitement and, of course, debate that we went defense with an SEC guy from Georgia. We're going to send it back to you guys in the much quieter part of the stadium.
Yeah. It is a little bit quieter over here on the east side of the stadium, that's for sure. You know, this is pretty cool. One of the things that you're accustomed to seeing is the first overall draft. These guys who are taken first, they walk out on stage, the commissioner greets them. That didn't happen for Trayvon Walker. He said he didn't want to be there in Las Vegas with just some of his family. He's got 70 people together, more than 70 guests with him, enjoying the moment. They're at the Omni Hotel at Battery Atlanta tonight. Because he wanted more people there to celebrate wherever he went. Maybe he knew he'd be the first overall pick, but he is enjoying the celebration, I'm sure, right now, this moment.
And you know what? He might think he's going to get a warm welcome. He has no idea.
Yeah.
How welcoming
Get ready.
local fans are going to be to welcome a local
Yeah.
here to play in the NFL. Folks, we want to thank you again for joining us during this special digital coverage of Draft Night in Duval. But our coverage does not end here.
Yeah, we're going to have a reaction from head coach Doug Peterson and the Jaguars front office. We'll have that tonight on the 10 o'clock news and News4JAGS at 11.
Yes, so make sure you stick around for that. Cole and Jamal will have their takes on a look at the rest of the draft on News4JAGS.com/Jaguars. And Frank Frangie, he's going to be live on the morning show starting at 7 a.m. with his thoughts on tonight's big pick and where the team goes next. next.
Yeah, this has been a pleasure, a lot of fun for us, and we thank you so much for watching on News4JAGS Plus or News4JAGS.com.
Good night.